Hi, welcome all. Welcome to another session of One More Quiz with IQ Chance. So this is me, IQ Chance. I'm a technical candidate for MNC. I'm a Linux certified. I'm active in Salesforce events. This is my LinkedIn URL. Feel free to connect with me. So, to be updated on the future sessions, you can either connect with me or you can join this WhatsApp group. And suppose if you want to have one-to-one session with me, you can book it on top, right? So today we have a participant M, whom I would be interviewing. His experience level is 2 years. So let's get started. Hi participant M, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
So can you just give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, yeah. Myself, I have completed my graduation from chemical engineering. Am I audible, Ankit?
Uh, can you please speak closer to the mic?
Yeah. Hello. Now I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Myself, I have completed my graduation from chemical engineering. Currently, I'm working as a programmer analyst. I'm 4x certified. Platform developer one, platform developer two, and associate along with. And apart from this, uh, in currently I started working on starting from configurations, and apart from configuration, I have very good knowledge in development and also participated in deployment activities. And if you want me, tell me about my projects also. I will let you about know my projects and other things.
I would say like a pointer here. First thing, whenever you're giving introduction, tell about your skills very specifically. You seem to be much more abstract. Like you can go into granular details. Like you tell like I worked on the LW, I created LWC components. I
Yeah,
created the
yeah.
Apex classes. I created the
Okay,
badge classes. And then you can tell about like I work on the profile permission sets, the security model, the sharing rules.
sure,
Then I
sure.
also like this and also specify around what clouds you worked on
Okay, okay.
because
Uh,
the panel would be interested in that. So can you just restart on that?
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to configuration part, from starting from creating objects, I worked on the creating fields, page loads, record types, and profiles, and I also worked on the reports, dashboards, and I also worked in on the sales cloud and service cloud also. Starting in service cloud, I worked on the standard features like email to case, email to web to case, and macro omni-channel instant chatbot, and all these things. And when it comes to automation tools, I worked on the flows also. And in development part, I worked on Apex classes, asynchronous process, and apart from this, I also worked on the triggers. And when it comes to visual AI, View, I worked also Aura components and little LWC also. And I
Okay.
worked on the test classes too. I worked on the test classes in deployment. I have used multiple tools, and mostly I also have a good knowledge in the deployment. I mostly work on the deployment also. Deployment.
See, whatever you said is right. But actually, I would tell you like how the mindset of the panel works. Like whatever you said in the very end, that was actually expected at the very starting. Uh, I as a panel, if I were interviewing you, uh, yeah. Whatever you said, the skill set is was right. It was granular as well. But my suggestion would be you can start from the very starting around the development. Like people are now obsessed with LWC, so their expectation would be like LWC should be coming first, Apex and all of that, and then you can talk about the features and other admin stuff.
Okay, okay, sure.
Whatever you said is right. Content is right, but the sequencing actually matters. Like you need a CV, the same thing happens.
Okay,
You're just
okay,
saying something in the last means you have the least knowledge on that.
sure, sure, sure.
And then after you're done with explaining all those things, like what are cloud parts you going down, what you can ask, like if you don't say anything, it would be an open forum. Like whatever the panel would want, they would ask on that. Or if you want like to predict questions to be predict specific, you can tell the ask the panel. Like if you allow me, I would like to talk about the recent which I worked on, and
Mhm.
then explain about the. If he says yes, you can start explaining the project.
Okay, okay.
So, would you want to explain about the project or how will
Yeah,
it go?
basically, I worked on the projects, and basically I worked on the finance project. And actually this is mainly we worked on an enhancement itself. Basically it is existing well developed project. We as a, in agile methodology we used to assign some tasks based on the some tasks apart from the TL we used to assign some tasks. Particularly I mean sometimes we used to get to work on the batch classes, sometimes we used to assign some test classes, sometimes we used to some configuration stuff randomly. We used to get some work. I mean it's basically it's existing project, so we used to get some work on it. And yeah.
Another point, the way you are explaining, like you work on the enhancement that reduces the terms of getting selected, because what you give the panel the instruction means what you give the vision to the panel is like, see, don't expect much out of it. I only worked on support projects. That's what you gave the interpretation.
Yeah.
I would say like you don't have to go into that. You can just tell about the project. What you're talking about is how the actually the work happens. What I am saying is like explain about the project.
Recently, we worked on the project also. It is also lift and shift project. I mean, lift and shift. Basically, we have merged the completely project into the with the help of tools. We deployed a project there. I mean, we even there also we I mean we did not work on much on the project. I mean, end to end, we don't know the process about the project, but I have knowledge on things what we have developed and all these things. If you
See,
want me to
my
explain,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. At least whatever you have, at least high level, you can talk about it. And the way you're explaining the things, it actually seems like uh, you are clearly telling the panel, like you're guiding him in the wrong direction. You are actually showing him like you're not much capable enough because you've mostly worked on the enhancement and related stuff. You're not worked on the complexity. And if a fresh task is given to you, you would not be able to do that. That's what actually is showing by the what you are saying in the direction of the interview.
Okay.
So my take it would be you can try to formulate it a little more optimistic way, I would say.
Uh, Basically, this is the finance project where we used to get leads. We used to get leads from the. Then we have a profile, multiple profiles who used to work on the particular lead. Then he used to convert into the opportunity, and once it is to opportunity, whether he is whether he is eligible for particular getting leads and multiple he will stretch. Once it the disbursement done, he will get the loan. This is the basic entire process of the project. Basically he used to get loan.
Okay, got it. See,
Mm.
what you have done is very, very brief. So my suggestion would be like whenever you explain a project, tell about what are the problems that the client had. So why they are actually building this application. So what you can say if nothing is there, you can tell like the client wanted their customers to have a more streamlined and digitized experience around the loan process. For that, they had this project. What would happen is there would be a in the experience page, there's a page where they would be clicking on and applying for the loan application. So whenever this application is being filled, it is selected as a lead. So now what happens is like the bank of representatives, sorry, the bank staff just calls the customer to get more details around them, around the loan, and then they try to nurture it like they ask for the CVL score or other financial details so that they can decide around like how much it is qualified. Like in the lead, we have the qualification of the leads. So that process is taken care by the bank staff. Now what happens typically is like after they have their conversations, then they convert that lead into account content and opportunity. Like here, like since a B2C, so it could be personal account that will be was enabled to at the personal account and the opportunity. So in that opportunity, then the further processing of the loan used to happen. So I
Okay.
assume that was the typically the use case, right?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, yeah, we used to just generate the leads and we used to convert it in the opportunity. Later we will have multiple steps whether he is eligible for the loans and all this. We adding the co-applicant also apart from the application. And basically this is the work done by the internal system only. Complete work profile we have created, and if he
Yeah,
is eligible,
internal stuff. Yeah.
external stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so like for the collecting the lead, like it was to the website or how the leads are collected?
It's from through website also. Some leads are generated from website, and some are manual. We most of the leads are created through manually and data loader also.
Okay, 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 got it, okay.
Uh,
So you can explain around this kind of process, like how I explained to you.
yeah, yeah, sure, Ankit.
It should be a kind of a proper story, like you're telling them, like yes, this is the process, so that the person is able to relate. So
Yeah.
during this process, also you have to tell about like the leads object is involved, the customers involved. Customer, it's like a guest user, and then like you can talk about like the Sales Cloud licenses used by the internal person because we need access to the opportunities and leads, which are the Sales Cloud objects.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like you can mention around like there's an email ID with which the uh, we can a custom implementation on web email to lead also you can just talk about if you want to just expand the scope and just talk about it. Email
Mm-hmm.
to lead it's not available out of the box, I guess. So you tell that you did the custom development around that.
No,
You
no.
use also yeah. So can you tell me like around like for the internal customers like means our bank staff since this Sales Cloud users, so there's a custom separate app that was created or you were utilizing the standard sales app.
Yeah.
So can you just tell it more clearly?
Sorry, Ankit. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so for this internal bank stuff, like was that a custom app that was developed or existing Sales Cloud app was
No,
being
no, no. We
utilized?
do not develop any custom app. We used to work on the sales app itself. We Salesforce standard app in itself. We used to work on the Salesforce standard app itself. Like,
Okay, got it.
yeah.
So there was some LWC components that were embedded in the console.
Uh, Basically, what are the mainly. See, this is very old project. This is old project. So mostly they have used Aura components itself in whatever components they have used, Aura components and worked on the flows, and the flows will be called from the component kind of things. Even
Okay, so
validations, everything, all the yeah. This is enhanced. Very old project actually. This is
yeah, so what you can tell about is like you for the internal applications like for the sales bank stuff or when we would be working through the application, there were some custom components that were developed as a part of the implementation. Few
yeah,
were
right.
auto components and few of them were LWC components which we created newly,
Mhm.
and then the things were happening in. And then you can just say like after the like after loan application is approved, like the opportunity is closed, so the revenue is generated
Mhm.
and that closes the cycle. Now, then the panel would ask you follow-up questions for the LWC components. So can
Okay.
you tell me about the different decorators that are there in LWC components?
Yeah, basically we have three decorators. One is APA, track, and wife. If you want me to elaborate it.
Yeah, please.
Uh, at the rate API is generally it is used for the public to make public, and it is to used to for reactive to make reactive. What are the properties we have created in the JS to make it reactive, and it also make it public, so that if we create it in the parent, so that we can access all child, we can access it from the parent or something. And when it is come to track, it is also make it reactive, but it is the private. It's mostly for the private. And when it comes to why, if we wanted to get some data from the Apex and all these things, for that we will use the y at the rate y integrator.
Slight correction, like explain it
Fetching
very
data.
clearly. Yeah, explain it very clearly, like from the recent announcements, like I think from 22. Like at the track we need only for custom data types or arrays. Otherwise, by default, all the properties are reactive.
Yeah, yeah, custom, right.
So you can tell about that.
Mhm.
And then can you tell me about the relationship between account and contact?
Yeah, when it comes to contact, it is when we used to user experience, it is the lookup. But since even though it is lookup, it is a special relationship with this cascade delete. It will act as a master detail also. If we delete the account which is related with the contact will also get deleted. Basically, on the UI you will get the lookup relationship, but it is a special relationship. If we delete the account, the contact also get deleted.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the different field types that are there in for a particular object?
Yeah, there are many field type like number. We also lookup, master detail, and pick list, pick a date, time, a text area, email, phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you tell me about master detail? Like, what is the difference between lookup and master detail?
Uh, the major difference between the lookup and master detail is in lookup it is loosely coupled. I mean, if we delete the parent also, there is no the child won't get deleted. When it comes to master detail, it is tightly coupled. If you delete the parent record, the child record also get deleted. When it comes to security purpose and whatever the things that is controlled by the parent, it is also same will be applicable for the child also. It will get the child will also have the same
For which?
in master detail
Okay.
mostly. Yeah.
Can you tell me about the profile and permission share? What's the difference around that?
Profile and permission set. When it comes to profile, whatever the user can be done, it is completely we can with the profile from starting from the objects, field settings, login hours, and IP ranges, and we can do many things with the help of the profile. When it comes to permission set, can I tell with an example, Ankit, if you want permission set?
Yeah, please.
Suppose I have a profile called sales, whatever it may be, and if I have 10 users for the for particular profile, and for one object, I want to give some extra permission for the particular one user, and I don't want to give the same permission for the 9 other users. In that scenario, I can use the permission sets. I mean, if you want to give some access permission in that scenario, I can use permissions.
Okay. Yeah, have you heard about permission set group?
Sorry,
Permission set group, have you heard about?
permission set group.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do same permission to the multiple I mean multiple permissions, and we can add it to the group, uh, and we can assign it. Am I
So
right?
what advantages you have in permission set group?
Advantage of having permissions at group, right?
Yes.
uh, I think I even with in permissions that we instead of single we can add multiple, and we can assign to from group or something like so that.
Yeah. So I will just explain that this a little bit.
Mm,
See, what happens is like the original intent is like on one like if we have multiple permission sets, then it is quite tedious to add up, but means different for the same role. Like individual users, we need to add separate permissions.
right,
So
right.
that is so what they did is they created permission set group. So on one permission set group, there are multiple permissions, customer permission sets. But
Mhm.
here's another catch. Like for some scenarios, you want to mute some permission while they're using combination. So
Mhm.
that functionality also I get with permission set groups. That's
Oh,
the only way. Like if I want, like I can kind of kind of reduce the permissions when using combination.
okay,
Like suppose overall like one is read and other is write. So whenever they're using combination, what I can do is like I can make sure like when they both are using combination, only it is read. I can mute that combination.
okay, got it. Ankit.
Yeah. Have you heard about public groups and queues?
Yeah. Public, I have heard about public groups and queues. Generally, when it comes to public groups, it's more about the visibility, whatever the user can have, and it is queue. It will help. Queue is generally for it will reduce the workload, and it also makes the particular member for the owner of the record.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Uh, can you also like when you mentioned about the public groups and you also mentioned about the queues. So,
Mhm.
can I in the queue, like how do I query a queue actually in SQL?
Sorry, how do
Query. Like if I want to query the record from a particular group, or I want to get the ID of the group, how would I do that? Or a queue?
select ID from group? I think
Yes.
even for queue also we can do
Yes,
from
for yeah, from queue as well, it is group same object, but the type is different.
right.
There's a user like who just called me and told me like, I'm not able to log in. So can you please help me? Like, what are the particular things where I'm going wrong? So what would be your approach of getting this thing resolved?
I mean, particular user not able to log in.
Yes.
Maybe I will check whether the user is freezed or inactive. I will check it in the profile for the I will went to the user whether user is inactive. If he is inactive, I will make it active. If he is freezed, I will make unfreeze and I can sort it. Main thing is,
If he is I mean, he is not freeze nor inactive, then what would be the next thing you would check and when you would check that?
I mean, he is not inactive and still he is not able to log in.
Yeah.
Maybe I will check IP range firstly, whether he and login hours
Where
also.
where
Login
where
hours
will you where will you see that?
profile in profile level. I will check the user profile and I will check the profile.
Okay. After that,
After that, I mean, I will check. There is also business login hours also. I will check in whether he is login in particular login hours, and maybe IP range also. And apart from this, user whether he is active or unfreeze. Any maybe the
wouldn't there's another simple way. What you can do is like you just go to the login history of that user. You will see the error. Like what's the problem?
yeah, definitely. We in the profile we will get the in user we will get the error. What is the error is coming?
Yeah,
Whether it
not
is
on the
IP
profile,
range,
not on the profile level, on the
user level.
user
Yeah,
level. Yeah,
right.
login history.
Login history. Right. I know. Yes, right.
Okay. Can you tell me about the security model of Salesforce? How does that work?
Yeah, security model. Okay, I will start from the. We will have the starting object level security, field level security, then record level security. When it comes to object level security and field level security, it is based from the profiles. What we can see in object level, we have CRED, create, read, edit, and delete. Apart from this, we have another two permissions: view all and modify all permissions in object level. And again in field level field also we can set some security read edit and permissions in the object profile level. And nextly we will have the record level security. Here we have again OWD will comes into picture. Apart from OWD we have role hierarchy and sharing tools and manual sharing. When it comes to role hierarchy we have again private public read write. And this is the base security where we can set for the anything lowest. Next we have role hierarchy which we can set only for the custom objects, because for the standard object it is already set by default. And when it comes to role hierarchy, whatever suppose one who have the higher role can see the records also of the who is having the lower role. And sharing rules further we have again sharing rules we have three types. And owner based, criteria based, and guest also. Guest something which we use to product and all this. And we have also manual sharing. And after that we have also apex based sharing. And we have accounts and opportunity teams for case teams for the three objects. Yes, Anuj.
You can also talk about the other ways, like the manual sharing, the Apex-based sharing,
Yeah,
restriction
apex
rules.
restriction. Okay. I think I have
Okay.
covered almost in sharing. I mean, right?
Yeah,
I have
yeah. Yeah. But make sure around like all the other parts, like these three parts of the work.
Mm-hmm.
And if suppose you already are proficient in the expense law, you can talk about the sharing set as well. If not, you can ignore that.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. So the next part is like, have you written any triggers?
Yeah, I have written triggers.
Okay.
Written.
So can you tell me about few context variables of trigger?
Mm, when trigger dot old, trigger dot new, trigger dot new map, trigger dot old map, trigger dot is executing, trigger dot is before, trigger dot is after.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me like any specific scenario like where you use means when you use before trigger, when you use after trigger?
Mm, Generally, before triggers are used if we want to change, if we want to restrict something before our data is going to saved in the database. In that scenario, we will use the before triggers. If we want something happened after saving something into the database in that scenario, we will use the after triggers. And apart from this, I mean, if something happened in this object and I want to happen something occurs in another object in that scenario, we will use after triggers after saving something in the database.
Yeah, you can clearly say it like other related objects or wherever we need the
Yeah,
ID of the.
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So okay. Uh, do you know about order of execution of triggers?
Yeah, order of execution exactly. I mean, I don't remember it, but it's
Give
before.
the steps. Give the steps. Do you know?
Yeah, I know, but I that I'm not
Okay,
able
not a problem. You can practice it
to.
offline.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
is a very important question.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. Order of execution. Yes.
okay, uh, if you work on the triggers, like if there was there any kind of time like where you had the requirement, like whenever a record is created, you have to do a call out.
Sorry, sorry, Ankit, can you repeat it?
So far, have you experienced any requirement where after like doing the trigger itself, you have to do a call out?
Right.
Did you experience such requirements
No,
anytime?
call. No, not that complex requirements. I mean, okay.
Okay. So suppose if this scenario comes to you, what would you do? How would you write the code?
In which case?
Like where you have to do a call out and trigger.
Call out. I will do it in. I mean, you're asking whether I will do in before context or after context or what? You're completely asking the scenario how I will
No,
write.
no, 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 no. See, look at the things to consider. Let me just answer that. See, what happens is like in the triggers, if you don't know, like we can't do a call out.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to use either feature methods or we have to go with queuable.
Right,
So now what
right,
happens is like after the call out is being done, like means to do the call out as well, like you have created that method, but after that as well, you have to consider whether it's a name so then you have to add in not add anything else. But if it's like you are calling it explicitly, then you will have to add that URL in the remote chat setting and then do a call out.
right.
So the next thing which you can tell me about is like there are different ways like you could do communication between LWC components.
Uh, when it comes to communication, we can do it from the parent to child, and we can also have a child to parent. And apart from this too, we are also having lightning message channel LMS, and previously we used to have PubSub also. These are the four ways we can communicate in LWC. Different.
Okay. Can you tell me about the best practices of writing Apex code?
When it comes to best practices of effects and triggers, basically we are not supposed to use hard coded IDs first thing. And whenever we are writing a SQL query, try to use in the try to always write the query in the selector class, and you will get it from their selector class. And better make sure it always with sharing, you whether it is necessary for the particular code or using the keyboard with sharing. And always try to bulkify the code and so that it work for multiples. And always also try to use the uh, collections like list and map and set, and try to avoid the for loops to avoid corner limits and all. And when it comes to during the test classes, always try to set up data and use proper test dot setup and dot if you want to use a context. Yeah.
Okay. Then the next part, what you can tell me about is the flows. Like what are the different kinds of flows that we have in Salesforce?
Basically, we have five to six screen flows, auto launch flow, record triggered flow, platform triggered flow, schedule flow, and orchestra flow. Apart from this, we have also most many people don't know. I think login flows also login flows.
Yes, correct.
Mm.
Now the next part is, do you know about junction objects?
Yes, Ankit, I have idea about junction
So,
object.
what does a junction object look like?
Generally, junction object is we used for in the scene of many to many relation. We created junction object.
Okay.
Many. Mm.
We can explore more on the this and later, like we can cover that in much more detail.
Mm.
The next thing is around the like, have you worked on asynchronous effects?
Yeah, in asynchronous, I have worked on basically. Mostly work on the batch classes in asynchronous.
Okay. Can you tell me about the different methods that are there in batch classes?
Basically, we have three: start, execute, and finish. These are the three methods we have in batch class.
Can you tell me about more about the start method in
Yeah,
greater
start
details?
yeah. In start method, generally, what are the data we want to work on? Using the query locator, we will get all the data, and in execute, we will perform the logic. Whatever the data, whatever the logic we want to perform it, we will perform the execute method. And if you basically finish method is generally used for the chaining. If you want to call multiple batches there, if you want to chaining in finish method, we can do it.
Okay. So a little point that I would like to add in here, uh, like when we mentioned about this batch class, in the start method, we can tell about both the variants. Like you just touch the data with the query locator. You didn't talk about the iterable return time.
Sorry, Ankit, can you repeat, please?
Yeah, so in start method as well, there are variants. Like one is your database.query locator and another is your iterable. These are the two different,
Iterator. Right.
yes.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
So you didn't focus on that.
I did.
So yeah,
Yes. Okay.
suppose I need to process like uh, 2000 records. So how many batch classes would get executed or needs to get executed?
You mean you want to execute 2000 records, right?
Yeah, I want to run it for 2000 records.
I mean, it depends on the batch size that we can. Suppose by default it is 200. If you set the 200, then it will execute in 10. I mean, if we set something else apart from 0 to 2000, it depends on the batch size what we have done, or what we have set.
Okay. The next thing is around if I suppose I have like 4000 records to be inserted. So can you tell me about what is the special thing that would happen?
How many records?
For
4000.
400, 400
Okay.
in one go, like through
In,
data loader, you loaded 400 records. So, will there be any specific behavior noticed around execution of triggers or what would you observe?
so, yeah. For every 200 records, it will get starting from again. It will change in triggers, right?
Yes,
For every
correct.
200.
Yes, correct. Can you tell me, like, have you worked on any test classes?
Yes, Ankit, I have worked on test classes.
Okay, can you tell me about the different annotations that you use normally in the test classes?
I mean, what are the can you repeat the
Annotations,
question?
annotations.
Annotations. Okay, okay. At the rate is test, we
Yeah,
can see all at the rate is test, and we can also see all data equal to, we can set equal to false, or if we can set true also sometimes according to our requirement, whatever we want to test. And at the rate is test setup, test dot short test, test dot stop test, test dot is user, or in which context you use test. And yeah, these
yeah.
are the
So these are the not the these three of them are actually methods of annotations. So annotations include at the rate is test, at the rate like
is test.
yeah, it's just is there, and then you have at the rate is setup.
Yes, like I already mentioned that. Yeah, the rate
Yeah,
is test. I mentioned. Start does test. It does not comes under annotation, right? Uh,
yeah, it is not a annotation, it's a method.
right,
So,
right. It's a method.
yeah, yeah,
It
that
does.
is actually
Yeah,
also our next interview question. Like, what is the sequence of test dot start test and what is the and test dot stop test? So you'll have to call it very clearly. Like, see, test dot start test, what it does is it resets the kernel limit. Like, what are
right,
limits they gone and the kernel limits that were consumed earlier during creation of the uh, test data, it gets reset, and then when you write test dot stop test, if there's any
it waits
asynchronous
for,
method.
yeah, asynchronous to run as a synchronous, and it also work for the DML, sometimes mixed DML exception also to, right?
Yes,
Uh,
correct, 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 correct. That is actually mostly for system.runner.
test to run as, right.
So the next thing is around like for the LWC, like you said, like you worked on the LWC as well. You told me about the regulation. Now the next part is around how do the communication, like how do you, okay, you, I think we covered that as well, right?
Right, right.
So the next part that I would like to ask you is around your like, can I use LWC inside an Aura method, in an Aura component or LWC component?
Sorry, Ankit, can you repeat the question, please?
Can I use LWC inside an Aura or Aura inside an LWC?
Uh, we can communicate it with the help of LMS, different, but I'm not sure whether we can use it inside Aura and LMS. We can
Inside, so
we
see,
can communicate. Right. Sorry.
communication is also done, and also you can place the components inside each other as well.
Okay.
Like in your Aura component, you can run the LWC components, but not the vice versa. Because LWC is purely based on your web standards.
Right, right. This is the latest web standards that we have, right, for dominant. Right.
Yes.
Mm.
Then the next part mostly goes around explaining around the trigger class, the trigger scenario will be given to you, and then you have to solve it on the go. Then can you tell me about the best practice of your practice of writing a text code?
Yeah, when it comes to trigger, we always have to write one trigger per object. We were not supposed to write multiple triggers. We were not supposed to use hard-coded IDs, uh, and we always bulkify the code while writing the capex, and we should use the collections uh, to avoid for loops, and we are not supposed to query inside the for loops, and always try to handle the errors also. And even sometimes using if you want working on bulk records, and if you want to insert some records, and if you don't want to, I mean, you don't want to roll back all the records, in that scenario you can use database.insert also. And yeah.
Yeah, correct, correct, correct. Uh, so in the query, like have you heard about the security enforced?
Sorry, Ankit, I don't know
Have you
anything.
heard have you heard about which security enforced?
Yeah, I have heard of with security enforced.
Okay,
I
what
mean,
does that
if
do?
it comes, I mean, if you're querying something that you don't have access, it will give the error like you do not inaccessible access field, something like that. If you're querying something that you don't have access, if you're querying
Okay,
some
got
fields,
it.
yeah,
Do you know about with sharing, without sharing,
yeah,
and
with
inherit
sharing,
sharing?
inherit. Okay, okay. Basically, it generally runs with the help of without sharing by default, and without sharing, it works as a system mode, and with sharing, it is used as the user mode. Which suppose if you try to query what are the records that we are having, we'll get all the records with the help of querying with without sharing. Suppose if you are trying to query with while with sharing keyword, in that scenario, we'll get the records that we are what are the records I mean, we are the owner of the particular records. We will get access of the particular records. And when it comes to inherited, it by default it works as the with sharing and with sharing, and it works according to the whatever the sharing it is.
Okay, got it. Can you tell me the difference between roles and profiles?
Yeah, roles and profiles. Profile is something which is very mandatory while creating the user, and role is which is not definitely it's not a mandatory. Profile is something will let the user whatever he can do in the particular what can he get access on the particular data. And when it comes to role, it is not mandatory, and it is something like uh, if I have something hierarchy, it completely depends on hierarchy. If someone is reporting to some higher role, will have the access that one who is having the lower role in the particular role. When
Okay,
it comes
got
to
it.
basic difference, I mean, I think yeah. Should I add something? Anything
No,
more
I think that
when it
should be
comes to?
fine. You can tell like, see, roles will see like 45% has a role to be able to get access or not. Like how much
Mm,
means if I'm not the owner, like if I'm a subordinate, like the manager should be able to see the record with the subordinates. So that concept is being highlighted. Profiles and permission set tell them like
okay.
what I can do with the data. Your roles tell you like how much data you should be visible to you.
Mm, right. Yes.
Okay. So that's all. Yeah. So we have covered around like best practices. We covered the order execution. Obviously, trigger scenarios will be there in which we are not able to cover that as of now due to the timing constraint. So,
Sure, sure.
but in our videos, like whatever we have recorded in the past, there are some questions related to that. So you can please
Mm,
practice those.
definitely. Sure.
Yeah. And these are just few of the questions. Like due to time constraint, we are able to accommodate few questions in one go. So whoever preparing, like these interview was for 2 years experience only. So
Mm,
the level would be a little bit low for 2 years. But for 3 years, the expectation would be quite large. So you can go through a video on the 3 years plus experience as well, like if you have 3 years and more experience.
oh,
Okay,
sure.
then thank participant them for participating in this mock interview and getting our audience enlightened, like uh, through your voluntarily working on this. So thanks a lot.
Oh,
So so for
Ankit,
participation,
what if I want to get?
not a problem. So yeah, so I think we are done with the mock interview. So we'll post it in the YouTube sooner
Sure, Ankit. Sure. I'm.
so that our audience would get enlightened.
Okay, sure, Ankit.
Please don't forget to subscribe to Mock Interview Conclusion YouTube channel. The link would be available in the chat, in the WhatsApp group as well, or in my LinkedIn. Okay, thank
Oh,
you.